Hey everyone. In this video, I just want to talk a little bit about culture and sort of get people thinking a bit about it and what it actually means and what it is they're actually promoting in the workplace with the things they say and do. Because I often see there's a conflict between the two. We say one thing, we talk about zero harm, and let's not get into the debate about that. We talk about rules to live by and all these things like that. And yet what we see in the workplace are very different things. I just want to recount a quick little story about an organisation I worked with a number of years ago. They had their rules to live by, and they were very heavily promoted in the workplace. They had a zero harm culture where they actively and at times probably aggressively promoted zero harm and how important it is to the organisation. Every meeting was started with a safety share, and safety was a standard agenda item for every meeting and things like that. And there was a number of things around that. And on face value, you think that's really good. And I must admit, I was quite impressed, having worked with many organisations over the years. On face value, I sort of thought this is good. This is pretty cool. I then started over a period of a couple of years while I was there, started to look at things and started to question things. And one of the things I did one year was I interrogated our incident reporting database. And one of our rules to live by was about confined spaces and not working in a confined space unless you're authorised to be there, have the irrelevant permit and lockout tagouts and other things like that. So anyway, when I interrogated the database, what I actually found is in the previous financial year, I'm just going to read these. They had 51 incidents related to confined spaces in their database. 18 of those 51 incidents were related to documentation, so that's about not having adequate or correct documentation to undertake the work. 16 were related to procedures, and that included entering a confined space without a permit, not following procedures while they're in there, or undertaking proper risk assessments. 9 of those incidents were related to isolations and not having isolations and lockout tagout processes in place before they entered a confined space. 4 were related to PPE, so people working in a confined space without the correct PPE, so whether that was work at heights in confined space PPE or actual PPE for the task they were doing in there. And 3 were related to atmospheric conditions, so that included people not testing the space, or operating detectors while in alarm and staying in the confined space. And it sort of really got me questioning things, and I really started to question it. Like I said, we talk zero harm, we talk processes, we talk procedures, we talk about safety shares, we talk about all this stuff that's really important to us. And yet we had 51 incidents in 12 months related to one of our cardinal rules. And what was really quite frightening, and also an eye-opener at the same stage, is none, not a single one of those was actually investigated according to our reporting database. And I look at some of those and think, hang on, there's a significant number that are high potential or hypo incidents. The fact that we're going into a confined space without permits, we're not atmospheric monitoring while we're in a confined space, we're going in without proper isolations and lockout tagout processes. That's scary. And you sort of think to yourself, hang on, how can this be? We talk about all this stuff, but this is what's happening in reality. So I think if we want to talk about culture in a workplace and making change, I think here's my things you need to consider. You need a culture where people can openly report these sort of incidents. These incidents can be investigated without fear of repercussions, so people will in fact report them. And more importantly is we need to actually learn from them and promote the learnings that come out of these about what's happened, why it happened, and what we can do to prevent it from recurring. If you can put those 3 things in place, you can have an amazing culture. It's going to achieve a lot more than some staged photo of your CEO wearing his high vis out in the workplace, when in fact that's not what he does. It doesn't work. It sends the wrong message. We talk about this, but our actions say this. I think, we really need to challenge that in any workplace. I certainly know when we talk zero harm, it's controversial. Absolutely it is. And I'd love people's thoughts and opinions on it. Is there a disconnect in what we're saying versus what we're doing in the workplace? Let me know your thoughts.